You're my best buddy.
I am uncomfortable. I'm filing sexual harassment claims.
I mean, what'll happen to our show?
Good point. Yes. You are the only one that is like available on a weekday afternoon to just talk about whatever. Oh Lord!
And apparently, I'm gaining a secondary following. By following, I mean one fan. Which is still cool.
Actually, fun fact, I only found this out because we brought it up in the last video I made. He's actually the guy who wrote our fan fiction.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I still haven't read it. You never gave me an actual link to it.
I thought I did.
Hey, buddy, link it in the comments.
It's still there. Right?
In what video? I've literally done over 50 reviews with you.
No, you've counted?
I have a playlist.
Oh. So you're the one.
For nostalgia. For nostalgia. Sometimes I want to go back and be like, I remember how horrible this was, and oh, I forgot we watched this movie, and like, oh yeah, that was really that good of a, like, I want to go back and watch Sicario again now, because I rewatched our review, and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, first like,
watching our play!
Really was that good. I actually rewatched
film,
the what was it, best of 2015 or something? Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's one where you put Jupiter Ascending as your number one.
No, it wasn't. No.
Was it not number one?
It was number 2. Sicario was number 1.
Okay.
Jupiter Ascending is still a damn good time.
Sure.
I don't remember that part at all.
I remember because you lost your shit.
I'm not surprised.
You were like, you're gonna have to explain that one, buddy. And I'm like, happily, I've seen it 3 times.
That is essentially accurate.
I own it on 3D Blu-ray.
So should we actually talk about Child's Play?
I mean, yeah, sure. You know, we're getting to the point where we have our own cinematic universe, I guess.
I can't wait for Into the Chuckyverse.
God. Yeah, let's do this. I actually, as far as horror remakes go, I had a damn good time at this one.
Yeah.
Honestly, so did I. And I'm kind of amazed.
Yeah.
Like, I love how it just totally went in with how ridiculous it was.
Yeah, I'm surprised that all 3 of us actually enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so,
like, it kind of loses some steam in the third act.
Well, yeah, it definitely also, I mean, there were definitely a few points where I went, that's implausible. And then I remember when I was watching it, I'm like, why do I care? This is fun. You're doing it to advance the plot. Honestly, the things that bugged me were like the phone interface for controlling the Chucky doll. And I'm like, you know what? At this point,
whatever.
Like, it's fine.
I think like the only thing, like me and Grant were talking about this before you got here, is I think the biggest problem with this movie is the fact that it's called Child's Play, and like the biggest weaknesses of the film are when it's trying to be more of a Chucky movie rather than what the original concept kind of sets it up to be.
But that's what I find really interesting about this, because in the original movie, the doll was literally possessed.
Yeah,
right?
I'm familiar with
by
this.
a guy who transfers his soul into a doll.
It was a serial killer or something. Like Now, in this one, you're straight up talking about a complete reimagining of the concept. The only thing that it has in common is a killer doll named Chucky.
And like that's, and to me, like, I feel like that's part of the problem, because like the concepts they came up with and how they execute, it's actually pretty good. I
enjoyed the shit out of it.
Yeah, like I it's think a good concept and it's well executed. It's more like, for me, the cracks kind of show in mostly in the third act is when I have most of the problems with.
Well, let's get to that.
Yeah,
when
we'll
get to
that.
Act.
Yeah.
Let's run through the movie a bit. And I just want to say that I really think that this was the best thing they could have done with it in this day and age. Like, I don't think they could have remade Child's Play as the movie that it used to be.
No, I agree.
And had it resonate in any way with modern audiences. Like, the fact that they actually put in the effort to come up with the whole AI concept and have that not only be moderately plausible, assuming a very, like, you know, they definitely don't exactly worry about the details, but at the same time, it's not. One of the things that I was concerned about when I saw the trailers and everything was, okay, so you have an AI doll that just suddenly wants to murder. And no, it's not that. It actually learns how to get there. There's a legit progression from it being a weird doll to it wanting to protect Andy from other things like the cat, and then getting to the point where, you know, they're watching horror movies and he gets those ideas. Like it's interesting how those influences grow.
True, and I agree. Yeah.
But I still think the opening sequence in, what was it, a Vietnamese factory?
Oh yeah.
That was a little much.
Ham-fisted.
Not just ham-fisted, but just plain, like, they really didn't care. Okay, so this dude was brought in off the streets, starving off the streets, but somehow understands coding.
Yeah, that did bug me too. It's just like,
I mean, as you do in Vietnam.
let's also not forget that aside from the coding and everything, which is in English, the interface that he removes is what? Violence inhibitors disabled. And like he goes through all these individual things until at the end it says all safety measures disable. It's like, yay! And then he does a weirdly, I felt kind of weird about him killing himself by jumping out a window.
Oh yeah.
It felt weirdly, like, yeah, Asian factory workers do this.
To me, it was like, all right, I guess this is I think it was supposed to be like some kind of like cheesy callback to the first one. It had like the lightning in the background, like the first movie did.
because I loved how just like over the top everything was, like with the rain and the discolored sky with the lightning and everything that was going on.
I guess like, okay, I guess coding is our new voodoo magic, whatever.
God understands that evil has happened.
I love they have to have a violence prohibitor in there, as if the play test just went horribly wrong. Oh, Timmy, no! Guys, we need to prohibit the shit out of this.
Don't mod your dolls. Oh man, but I definitely enjoyed the disdain that the creators of the movie seem to have for certain elements of society. Like, someone there has definitely worked retail before. You know, one of those writers has worked a retail job.
Yeah.
Like that opening sequence with Aubrey Plaza dealing with
Didn't tell his motherfucker's ginger.
I'm sorry.
Aubrey Plaza, I missed you so much.
It doesn't come out for a few weeks, and you know, I'm sorry you didn't look
through the viewing window.
At the product you were buying.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I heard Aubrey Plaza was in this movie, I was a little worried that she's gonna be too much of a straight woman. But like, nah, it's still Aubrey Plaza.
No, she did.
She's good in this.
It is. Generally, she's given very specific. What are you jiggling around in there?
There's a little bottle cap in there.
Give me that.
I like it.
Give me that.
No.
It's making
It's only toy.
It's bad ASMR. It's bothering me.
Have you seen what these dolls do? He needs a safe toy.
I have a fidget cube in here somewhere. Just get rid of that.
Have you seen what fidget cubes do?
Yes.
This would be a very different conversation when we went to go see Toy Story.
Oh boy. Which I also saw today. So, you know.
I still haven't seen it.
I enjoyed it a lot.
I heard it was pretty good.
It is very good. I would say it's definitely better than the third one. But anyway, let's see. So Aubrey Plaza, yeah. She blackmails the dock worker.
Yes.
Taking the defective doll back. That's another thing about this movie. It has a sense of humor.
Oh yeah, we're just gonna get to that. Like, actually, like the best parts of the film are the Pet Smart. Yes, the Pet Smart of the movie is.
Rooney.
I'm not even a cat person. That was just mean. But yeah, like the humor really is the best part of the film. Like
that's something I was really relieved to see, because that's something that a lot of horror movies these days either get wrong or don't have.
Well, I feel like this movie works better as a comedy than it does as a horror movie.
But that's the fun of certain old horror movies.
No, like, I wasn't saying that as a negative. I was just pointing that as an observation.
No, but that's my whole point. Like, I'm really glad it had that tone.
Yeah.
It was really refreshing.
And it actually is pretty on par for the Child's Play franchise in general in the Chucky movies.
Yeah.
When they've always kind of had that tongue-in-cheek, like kind of firmly in cheek approach to a lot of their movies.
Especially as they got further on.
Yeah, especially when you got to like Bride of Chucky and Seed of Chucky.
Yeah, once Jennifer Tilly became part of the franchise, it was like, okay.
Yeah, we're done.
clearly someone's not giving any fucks. Or giving all of the right fucks. Because I think that dude also went on to make Freddy vs. Jason, which I thoroughly enjoyed.
I hated it when I was a kid. I don't remember.
You should have watched it again.
I might.
There's literally a part where Freddy and Jason start fighting, and Freddy starts doing like straight up martial arts moves against him.
Oh, and the ping-pong. I forgot the ping-pong sequence.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, there's a part where like he's bouncing around in the dream world, and you hear like the sound when the pinball hits like those little bounce, the ding 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 ding.
But like, here's the thing about this movie though is the fact that going back to the director you're talking about, he's still making Chucky movies.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
that's still a thing.
Which is kind of weird.
Is it Cult of Chucky something that's?
Yeah,
yes.
It was Cursed then Cult.
Okay.
And there's a third one coming out of that for a little like.
Well, no,
series.
there was Bride and then Seed and then
Curse
and then Cult.
Okay.
And there's gonna be a sixth one coming out soon.
Damn.
Yeah. So there's
eighth. Actually.
Sorry. Well, I'm not. I'm like of the Chucky films, not necessarily.
I'm glad you know this.
Yeah,
because not necessarily Child Play.
Yeah, because I was reading up on the on Curse and Cult because I had only seen up through the fourth one.
Okay.
I have not seen many of these movies, so I don't really have a whole lot of like context or emotional attachment to the franchise. Maybe that's why I like this movie a little more.
I don't know. I feel like this movie is very. It's an interesting modern take on the franchise, and I don't think that it's particularly offensive as far as horror movie goes, especially because there are a couple scenes where it really does get some gore in. And it's some fun gore. It's been a while. Because ever since Saw happened, a lot of gore has been made to just make you go, oh!
Yeah.
And there's definitely moments of this where you're like, that was stupid. The mulcher was the best.
Shane.
Oh, man.
And there was a part of me and Grant going back and forth. It's like, is that Jack Black? No, it's not Jack Black.
Yeah,
is it really Jack Black? We don't know. I had to look it up on IMDb because we could not figure it out.
Knock off creepy Jack Black.
Because he acted like him. He sounded like him. He
looks like
looked like him. It was just like
he looks. I thought that from the trailers, but yeah, it's okay. So he gets the doll. He makes friends with it. It scans him. It wants to be his best friend. It starts learning how to interact with him. There are lots of fun little sequences where it's trying to be his friend, but it's really just being annoying, and it's trying to function, but it's kind of a defective doll, so it's trying to hand him his science book, and he gives him was it a banana?
There was a banana. There was a Viking helmet.
Yeah,
there was a potted plant.
just
there was
like none of those are books.
I
just wait here.
And I made you a present.
Broken stick with the bow.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of adorable. They start getting along. The cat scratches the kid. The kid goes ow, and the Chucky like tries to kill the cat but doesn't, and then later does.
You disabled my violence prohibitors.
But yeah, the kid makes a couple new friends, and they start watching horror movies and stuff together. And Chucky sees them.
And Fallon.
Something. That girl was amazing.
Yeah.
I hope to have a daughter like her someday.
Right.
Oh, what was your response when she got in that one kid's face? Fuck you, Stranger Things.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. There were definitely points where people were like, ah! And she's like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Let's go do this. It's like,
can we talk about that one, the best jump cut in the film?
which one?
It's right after There's right after the mulcher.
Oh, got it.
Where he wakes. Okay.
Let's do this. Okay.
That was the best part of the freaking movie.
Clearly we're spoilers free on this, but like, there's the kid's mom's boyfriend who's just a
Shane.
premium prick. Like, just no. He's definitely one of those characters in a horror movie where they just want you to hate the dude.
Yeah,
and it's fine. He's gonna die at the hands of the doll. You're just wondering how, and probably because you've seen the trailers. But when it gets around to it, it actually does a pretty good job of making you not realize how this is going to happen. And he ends up actually going headfirst into that like garden mulcher thing.
Yeah, it's a fucking happening.
It's really great because you get to see it come over the top of his head and all this blood goes down and shit, and he's screaming and crunching. And then there's a wet squelch, and just his hair, just his scalp, flies off and lands on a garden gnome. And then you're wondering what happened to him, and the police come investigate, and there's like, it's like his face has been torn off. There's no face on his skull, and you're like, oh, well, that was weird. And then you realize what happened. Well, it goes back to the kid's room. It goes back to Andy's room, and he just casually gets up, walks out of the door to go brush his teeth or something, and then comes back because he notices there is
a face.
A watermelon with Shane's face just nailed to it.
Yeah, with a bow.
With eyes and everything. And there's a little bow on top. And Chuck is just like, can we play now? It's like, what? Yeah. Oh. And he freaks out, and then he goes gets his friends.
Yeah. Oh, and he calls her like, you summoned us, and it's like, so what's the problem? And then they discuss it. As like these kids are looking at this face, like, Jesus!
These three kids standing there, and Pug most of all, because he's definitely one of those, like, you know,
puker. He's
no, not even just the fact that he's a puker, but he's definitely one of those fake macho kids. Oh, yeah. Who's like, yeah, shit doesn't bother me. I watch horror movies all the time, and he sees a face nailed to a watermelon, and he's like,
yeah, it just cuts to him like mid-vomit in this trash can. You forgot the other awesome part of Shane's death was like when he was on the ladder, and that weird like 80s movie cut they did.
Yeah, no,
he fell on it. He lands, his legs just like he falls on the roof.
He falls directly onto his ankles. Basically, it's like that one Dark Knight drop, except more severe.
Show what happens.
Yeah.
And also, for some reason, I love how like they completely ignored any and all physics. It just stops. His bones pop out of his legs. They just make that weird, awkward cut you see in 80s movies, just like screaming.
Oh yeah, from the inside where his daughter's just sitting there with headphones on, and he's just going like, and then falls backwards, and they're like, what? Oh man, it is delightfully sadistically entertaining. It's so great. So yeah, that whole sequence from them taking the head and wrapping it in wrapping paper and then getting caught by the mom.
Oh, yes!
And having to hand it off to the cop neighbor's, like, older mother. And
like, no, don't open it now.
And she's like, that's a very strange but sweet request. Okay.
Open it on my birthday. We'll open our gifts together.
Oh, was it? Oh, did you help him with the gift? Nope. It was all him. He did it on his own.
All him. Yeah. So lots of fun there. Lots of fun there. I also enjoyed how leading up to Shane's death, they definitely did the fun thing where they play with your expectations. Like you know, if you watch enough horror movies or just movies in general, you know when they're setting up moments to be creepy, like he's there, he's not there now. And there's shots where he's just opening the fridge to get a beer.
Oh yeah.
And it's looking at the fridge door, and there's nothing there when he opens the door, and there's nothing there when he closes it. It's just fucking with you sheerly through the cinematography, and I fucking love that. I love that so much.
No, like, and those are the scenes I feel like really give this movie a clear, it's very... A very unique identity. It sets itself apart from the previous Child Play movies. And that's something I really appreciate about the film in general, is the fact that it feels like it is taking a different approach. It is doing its own thing with it. It doesn't feel tied down to the previous franchise.
But it's still paying tribute at the same time.
It is. And I think that's, like, and again, I think, like, through, like, 3/4 movie, I really enjoyed that dynamic. For me, like, the parts I think I had the most, again, are in the final act, we'll get to in a little bit. But, like, for up to this point, though, like, I was like, this is actually pretty good. I'm having a good time with this. I don't get why people are shitting on this.
And they did do some really fun things with the whole, you know, cloud AI control concept.
Yeah.
I felt like that was really interestingly utilized throughout the movie.
Yeah. Mostly again towards the end, but I do agree. Like they took advantage of the concept they created. Like it's one of the things. To me, I kind of wish they made this just its own franchise, because I feel like it might be a little stronger that way, rather than calling it Child's Play.
I feel like they might have accused it of ripping off of Child's Play,
which is fair. It's like
consider this: what if they were shopping around a Child's Play reboot?
I mean, honestly, they probably would have. What was the name of that Disney Channel movie?
Smart House.
I feel like they would accuse him more of ripping off Smart House.
I don't know.
Than Child's Play.
If they did
based
it with
on
the doll,
concept.
if they remove the doll, then maybe. But
Like, 'cause I think you don't necessarily need that doll for this concept.
you
to
do
work.
though. A big central part. Weird. I feel weird saying this, but the emotional core of the movie, which is oddly effective. Is the kid's relationship with the doll. It's the fact that he's lonely and they're poor and he doesn't have any friends and his mom's able to get him this thing that is normally too expensive for them and he gets to have fun with it. I mean, you wouldn't have priceless scenes like where he's trying to teach the doll to be creepy and the doll just like...
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was that animatronic or was that all CGI?
It's animatronics.
Okay, I was gonna say.
The eyes were CG.
Yeah, like that.
But you could tell, like, the way that the animatronics were pulling at the face, it was clearly the edges of the motors just going to their extremes, and that's part of what I loved about it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just... It was literally filmmakers fucking with the animatronics themselves. It was like a weird meta joke.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean?
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. I was just sitting there laughing. It was a good time.
Oh, it was.
So yeah, you have the whole thing where people wonder, you know, these murders are happening around him, and that one cop dude is worried that it's the kid, and it just gets to a point where nobody believes the kid as he's going crazy, and you know, basically it's the hereditary syndrome.
Yep.
Where, you know, this shit's happening, you gotta believe me, and they're like,
still need
you're
to watch that
mentally ill.
movie. God.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about that. But,
Oh yeah.
but as that goes further, it climaxes in the whole, I don't know, the Zedmart thing.
Basically the Buddy 2.0 launch party.
Yeah. Shop Smart.
Oh, that manager.
Shop Zedmart. Oh, God.
I will admit, before we got to like the most ridiculous part, like the
I really loved that. This is something that I haven't enjoyed in a horror movie in a while, where you just enjoy...
watching a child get
Someone's-
traumatized.
Yes! Enjoy watching a dude's death. Like, this one guy puts on, like, this buddy costume, and he has the giant buddy head on.
The guy got blackmailed
And-
earlier in the movie.
Yeah, and the buddy doll jumps up and stabs him in the neck, but it's in the costume enough so that it's not apparent. And he comes out in front of all the kids and everything, and eventually wrestles the thing off of his head, and
just spurts
a blood spray all over the front row of these kids and their parents. You get the classic shot of, you know, like the 12-year-old girl going, ah! Just covered in blood.
That
It
was
was like it was like Evil Dead when Ash chopped off his
God.
girlfriend's head.
I loved that.
See, for me, that would like triggered a little bit of guilt on my part because again, you keep in mind, I do that shit on weekends. I don't.
Spray children with blood?
No. That's on Fridays. That'll hold up in court.
I thought it was funny.
It was Chucky.
Why aren't you laughing?
Damn Philistines.
Nice. I always appreciate a Mark Hamill Joker reference.
Hey, relevant.
Yeah, right.
Which also reminded me, the fact when you mentioned that whole way this face stretched out, I was like, the irony of
Mark
Hamill doing a Joker smile, Jack Nicholson Joker smile.
And let's also, there were some people that were concerned that it would sound too much like Mark Hamill.
No.
Yeah,
like, this
I
is
feel
a
like it
legit
did fine.
performance.
It did fine.
Like this wasn't a cash in for Mark Hamill. He really put a good amount of effort in this.
Yeah.
Most of the time it works. I think a couple times where I feel like they're trying to make him more showy and like cinematic, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work, but for the most part, he succeeds pretty well where it needs to. And again, I think my biggest problem with the Chucky character in general is like I do agree with like the character has a good arc in terms of like where he starts off with like just the weird little doll that he has into like a more full-fledged three-dimensional character. It's more like when he starts going full evil, he starts doing like one-liners and stuff, and like I get
it's like where did you learn this?
Yeah, exactly. Like some of them make sense. Like there's some people have told him
Like
or
this
something.
one's for Tupac. Stab.
That I actually thought was pretty funny.
But then there are times he starts doing like peekaboo, and I'm like, where the fuck did you learn that one?
Peekaboo! It's like, what?
Yeah, like so that's I think it's probably the most most jarring parts to me is like, okay, that's more original Child's Play.
Yeah.
Than current Child's Play, and I felt that to me that was a little jarring.
Yeah, I definitely agree that it becomes less plausible with the way that they've constructed the character as they get to that point in the movie.
And that's what I'm talking about with the franchise disconnection there.
But at the same time, I can appreciate that they just used it as a vehicle to get to that point in the movie. Mm-hmm. And when they got to that point, they just wanted to go whole hog with it. And
fair enough.
Use it as an excuse just to have some really silly, fun, stupid moments. Like the bear models.
Oh, yeah.
The fact that there's literally one of the little buddy bears that jumps on someone and just goes like, "Arr!" and tears out their throat. Like, that's...
Oh, that did think my favorite lines
That's
in
so
there.
stupid. I love it so much.
When
It's
the girl
so
comes
stupid.
in and just beats the shit out of a little like teddy bear Chucky, and and then she runs off and like, I'm gonna follow her. It's like, yeah, me too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, just the way that they implemented the whole idea of all the AI objects in a store, like being able to be controlled by Chucky. I feel like they should have done more items. Because it was mainly the buddies and then the drones, right?
Yeah, like
there wasn't really much else
They could have done more with it if they wanted to.
They could have. I would have loved to see an extended sequence of that with more people dying, preferably more children dying.
Just go like full Gremlins 2, you know?
Yeah.
Just go balls on the walls.
Just have it be this whole thing where clearly Kaplan is connected to more stuff than you thought.
Yeah.
And you have... other little dolls jumping around and being weird, or little toy cars other than the police car or whatever, fucking with people, or
Love the RoboCop reference.
there's gotta be other things that you could do with that concept.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I appreciate that this film kept the scope kind of tight.
Yeah.
I feel like it could have been longer. I feel like it could have been a more fleshed out movie.
Yeah, like they could have added reasons why he becomes kind of more...
Well, they could have done more
super
with that.
villainy.
They could have done more to flesh out the mom's relationship with the son.
True.
They could have done more to flesh out the relationships between the friends.
Like, I feel like the friends I agree with, I actually felt like the relationship with the mom is actually pretty well established.
It's pretty well established, but there aren't a lot of prolonged scenes of interaction between the two beyond, like, the first few scenes.
That's fair. Yeah.
I don't feel like there's many... Like, there's definitely scenes later on where the mom is defending him, or she's talking to him about how, I don't understand what's going on, and she's just not believing him, and she's punishing him and stuff. But I feel like there could have been a couple scenes where she was like, help me understand what's going on, or, all this kind of stuff. I just feel like there was potential for more of a movie in there, but... It's the Child's Play remake. Yeah. What the fuck am I expecting or asking for?
It was a bit of a double-edged sword for me, because I agree on the one hand they could have had, more development. I would have liked that, because that was my things. On the other hand, I'll give them credit. I like the characters well enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will admit, I appreciate the fact they kept this at a more brisk pace.
Yes, this is a tight movie.
Yeah,
so
it's very tight
hour and a
very
half.
briskly paced.
Yeah, it's only 90 minutes, so they keep things pretty, they keep things going at a good rate.
Yeah, and the characters definitely did what they needed to do to make the movie work. Yeah. It wasn't like we're not expecting a top tier movie in terms of character development and all that stuff.
No, it's a Child's Play remake at the end of the day.
Shane, most of all, Shane is one of the most basic, you're gonna hate him, mom's new boyfriends who doesn't treat her right, and of course secretly has a family at home and all that shit. He's gonna ignore the stuff that she makes for him, and
it's kind of character you just go to with your mom, just think, he's an asshole.
Grabs another beer and by the way, quick question: who makes 2 cookies?
Broke ass people like to make cookies.
Who makes just 2 cookies though? How can you even buy them? You can't buy a cup of flour. I'm going to buy a cup of flour and 1 egg and just enough chocolate chips for these 2 cookies.
Or can you? That is quitter talk, my friends.
I feel like it's not buying at that point.
Just to spite you, I'm just gonna find a way to buy just a cup of flour.
Just have a scene
and a single egg.
Just have a scene with the mom sneaking through the Zedmart, splitting open a flour bag and measuring out just a cup and like stashing it in her jacket.
Just giving egg to the dog.
Going and taking one egg and like run. It just
No, just give
have
the
that be
give the egg to the dog. You'll walk out like smile and wave, boy, smile and wave.
Yeah, right. But yeah, in the end, I had a damn good time with this movie. The climactic battle was, okay, but at the same time, again, what are you expecting? The movie did its job, and it's not like I was there to see the final battle. I was there to see some ridiculous shit at the end, and I got enough of that, and I had a good enough time getting there.
Yeah.
So I had a good time. I enjoyed it.
Grant, your thoughts?
Pretty much the same thing. I mean, like I said,
That's the whole point, Grant. We go to the same thing, and then we talk about it, and sometimes we disagree. Articulate your thoughts, Grant.
Honey, it's okay.
He always does this.
Let our son have his moment.
Do not call me daddy.
You didn't mind. Anyway.
This is my car, asshole.
you're the one putting those impure thoughts in my head.
So, what are your thoughts, son?
It's times like this I'm really sad there's no more fan fictions.
I mean, there could be. Anyway,
Medina family trip, dear God.
Oh no! Fuck.
Don't make me turn this into a Medina family funeral.
I see.
I hate both of you.
I see you watch that movie.
Oh, fuck you.
Boo too? Have you ever gotten any of those with him?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah, I made him watch the latest one.
Oh, jeez. I haven't seen a single one of them.
I did the same thing I did with you after Secret Life of Pets, where it's like, here's the money. I'm so sorry.
Well, no, I will say this, though. We did go see 50 Shades of Black.
We did!
Which occasionally I block out of my memory, but then I see it in the list, and I'm like, oh, no.
I completely forgot it existed until you just brought it up.
Yeah.
I successfully repressed that memory.
That's okay.
Just watch the review for Medina.
Well, it's a good thing my last name isn't a secret anymore.
It's on your profile.
That's why I said it's not a secret anymore.
Anymore.
Well, it used to be.
Oh.
But yeah, just watch the review for Medea Family Funeral. I lose my shit.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'll pull that up.
I actually saw a comment from my mom. Like, there's one part where a comment from my mom online just made me. Yeah!
Wait, what was the comment?
And it's like, I don't know why I don't find it funny. I love Tyler Perry movies.
Oh, that's right. Because you put on Facebook, you're saying, "Oh God," basically, and seeing Medea, and then that's where your mom left.
And I just like.
That's why I can't talk to my dad anymore.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's like I'm legit sad for you. I'm like not even kidding. I'm like that's really unfortunate. Like
it could be worse.
It could be worse. I mean, to be fair, like, the worst things my stepmom loves are standard, like, Nicholas Sparks bullshit, like The Notebook and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay. But my dad raised me on Kurosawa and shit,
Yeah.
So I'm used to my parents having some measure of taste and Medea, man. I'm sorry. I'm glad you're a fine lady in every other way, Miss Corbin.
It's okay. They call me Captain F-Bomb. They're not watching this.
There's some things we can't forgive.
It's like I cannot stand Big Bang Theory.
God!
Like,
do not start with me.
Oh, me too.
Oh, she likes that too.
We are on the same page on that.
Yeah,
but here's the thing about this. I insist, like, when I used to go and eat dinner, I was like, do not put this TV show on. Please. I hate it. I hate it so goddamn much. Please don't do it. And my dad, every time, like a passive-aggressive asshole, would put that show on specifically when I sit down to eat, knowing I have to watch it for the next 10 or 20 minutes or so, despite my protests. It's so hard. Why is it so hard? You need to use more deodorant.
It's been a long day, okay? Oh my god.
All
Been a
right.
while since I had
I needed a good laugh. All right. Yeah, I really like Child's Play too.
Let's hang on. So, what are your thoughts on Child's Play, son?
All right, we're on that tangent.
Wow,
Oh, bringing it back.
No, I really enjoyed it.
what the fuck was that?
That was
Something we won't discuss further. Go on, Grant.
That was a mental break. I really enjoyed this movie. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page. Like, we enjoy the humor. Has a just great dark sense of humor. Probably a lot more effective than any of the scares. In fact, then again, for the most part, I don't think it's trying to be scary.
No,
but
I don't think so either.
yeah, I'd say the weakest part is probably the finale. But even then, like, it's still an enjoyable, fun movie.
Yeah,
It's
Like-
hard to bring together the third act for movies like
Yeah.
this.
true, very true.
And it's more of a fun scary than,
Exactly.
than actually scary.
Like, it
scary.
was-
Yeah.
So,
Like it's not trying.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Grant.
Oh, nothing. Just, I just really appreciate that Raimi-esque, just kind of
Yeah.
humor it has. And just in these kinds of movies in general. Kind of like with Upgrade, now that I think about it, too.
A little bit, yeah.
well, they.
Upgrade took itself more seriously in this.
I was
one
actually
than
going
it
to say they kind of stole the car part from Upgrade, but
A little bit. Yeah.
Anyway,
Like I would pretty much agree with you guys. I actually really like this movie. I like that it does set out to establish its own identity. It's not just trying to be just the original movie all over again. I actually did find myself emotionally invested in a lot of the characters.
yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, like which I was not expecting.
Why am I caring about this child? Like when the kid is being accused of going crazy and everything, you are legitimately concerned for him.
Yeah,
You're like,
no,
no,
like, it works.
This is not how did this movie, which was kind of using Aubrey Plaza as the main marketing ploy,
It's like you tricked me, movie.
like these are damn good child actors.
Yeah, they are good.
Pretty much every child actor in this movie is solid,
Yeah, I agree.
especially the main character. He does a real good job.
But yeah, I think I like what it tries to do. I think it executes it better than, quite frankly, it should. And I think the reason a lot of people are shitting this movie is because it is called Child's Play.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a dumb reason all its own. Like, I don't, like, again, I'm not emotionally attached to this franchise, so I can't really speak in terms of it as a remake.
Yeah.
But for what we got here, I had quite a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
I had a good time.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lesson learned, never give your Amazon Alexa legs.
I mean,
Alexa, stop it. Alexa, pause. Wait, that looks like something very different. Alexa, don't stop. Alexa, keep going.
I was gonna say, are you gonna like ask your Alexa to just
Alexa,
pick
Alexa,
that
light
up.
my cigarette.
Alexa go pick that up? Like we're gonna have robot sex slaves. Of course, then
Oh, great. Now we're going to David Cage territory.
Now you're gonna go down the whole rabbit hole of. But you're gonna go, now you're gonna get into privacy because
Oh, God.
Amazon is gonna use all of your data and sell it to everybody for marketing purposes. If it finds out exactly what you're telling Alexa to do.
Not if I read the user agreement.
That's the thing. And Apple will probably be the most secure with your data, but they're not going to let you do porny stuff with your Siri.
Or launch nuclear weapons.
The only real middle ground is to go with Google and hope you can rename it into something a little more alluring than Google.
Cortana.
Oh, no. I'm so upset that they named their AI that.
Right.
I trust Microsoft AI as much as I can throw it. Now, excuse me while I play my PC games.
Okay, one of
playing
these
your
days. One of these days we've got to do, because I like doing my rants. One of these days we should do a show where I do my Halo rant, because boy howdy.
It's on my list of things to do, but also keep in mind I have 3 fucking jobs now.
No, I'm aware, it's fine.
This is why I'm glad I stopped at ODST.
You should have done 3. You should have done 3.
3 was good.
3 was the best one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reach was good too.
Reach is
Well, I
a
thought
good side
ODST
story.
came after 3.
Wasn't ODS 2 like a...
Yeah,
it was an
ODST
expansion
was a
pack.
spin-off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, it's what they used as the blueprint for Destiny.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
yeah. Anyway, video games.
Damn it, I was going to say, except it had a lot less Nathan Field. Wait a minute.
No, that's another thing I actually really loved about it.
All right, so I think it's all we got for this movie. I'm gonna see Toy Story tomorrow.
I saw Toy Story today, and I really enjoyed it.
So
I can't wait to cry.
yeah,
I did have emotions more than I thought I would, and I definitely didn't feel like they were being cheaply torn out of me like Toy Story 3 tried to do, which I have deep problems with.
You do you problems with something? No,
I have negative feelings about things sometimes.
you don't say.
I do say at length on your video. Have you been here for?
Good night, everybody.
What? No trailers?
No, fuck it.
Thank God.